All right, if you guys would, oh, there we go. If you guys would turn into your textbooks to page 194, we're going to take a look at simple interest today. All right, so it's talking about so when you're saving money in a bank savings account, the bank pays you money each year and adds it to your account. This additional money is interest and it's added to the bank accounts because banks routinely use your money for their financial projects. Then they pay interest for the money they borrow from you. All that to say is you guys put money into the bank. The bank says, awesome, that's great. Thank you for using us as your bank to store and save your money. We're going to borrow your money for a time period to take care of any projects or things that we have going on. But in lieu of us borrowing your money, we're going to give you some money back. All right. So, an original amount of money in your account, this is known as principal. So, principal is the original amount of money, it's your starting point. And interest is calculated on a percent of the principal. So interest is calculated on the percent of that principal. So say that we put in $20, you guys can earn a interest of like, let's say 3% over the course of 1 year. All right. All of this or one type of interest that we normally see is known as simple interest. And we're going to go ahead and highlight these two other words because that's very important for us to know. Is simple interest. And this is when there is a fixed percent of the principal. Simple interest is paid over a specific period of time, either twice a year or once a year. For example, the formula of simple interest is shown I equals PRT, where I is the interest earned in dollars. So this is how much the bank's going to pay you to borrow their money. P is the principal. This is what you start with. R is the interest rate. It's as a percent. And remember, when we're multiplying with a percentage, we need to change this percentage to a decimal. And then T is the time that money earns in interest. So it's the time, and it's mostly and should always be in years. If you ever see a problem and it says in 12 months or 24 months, you need to change it over to years. All right, so I had to grab this. And if you actually take a look inside of your spirals or even on the internet, wherever you are, and you can take a look, you guys will notice that you have your star reference sheet. Now mine is gold as I keep a class copy. But if you look, where is it? Oh, all the way down here in additional information, you guys have your formula for simple interest. I equals PRT. And this will be on your star reference sheet for when you guys are taking the star, which is what we're learning today. I just wanted to show you guys that you guys actually have it right here. So you don't have to have it memorized. You just need to know what each of the letters represents. So let's take a look at the example. It says, for example, Kim deposits 300. So I'm depositing 300 into a savings account at a simple interest rate of 5% per year. You can use the formula to calculate the interest she will have earned at the end of 3 years. All right, so this sounds like I need to know my PRT. Well, my principal is what I start with, which is what I deposit into my account, and I am depositing $300. My rate tells me up here that's my interest rate, which is a percentage, and it tells me that it is 5%. Well, I need to change this to a decimal. So I'm going to take that 5 and I'm going to change it and go 1, 2, move that decimal 2 times to the left to get 0.05. And it says 5% per year. But we're calculating this interest for 3 years. So my time is 3 for 3 years. So our formula is I equals PRT. And I'm going to ask, what are you doing in between each of these variables? Now remember, variables is a letter that we use in math to help us. And what we're doing in between each of these letters is we are multiplying all three of our numbers. So we're going to write I is equal to PRT. So we're going to have I is equal to 300 times 0.05 times 3. And then it looks like they went ahead and multiplied it out for us to give us 45. The way I would, for how they got down here, is they broke it up. They did these two first, and then they multiplied it by 3 to give us our 45. You can if you really wanted to, but it's really hard to just do all 3 at the same time. So you need to do the first 2 and then multiply in the very last one there. All right. So number 1, complete the table by using the knowledge of the formula for the simple interest. So principal amount saved in dollars, interest rate, time in years, and interest earned in dollars. So let's go ahead and label our columns to have P, R, T is equal to I. So PRT is equal to I. Give me just a second. There are 2 pages. It says okay, perfect. Okay, so I know my principal, I know my rate, and I know my time. Let's go ahead and change 7% into a decimal. So move the decimal 2 times to the left. So 1, 2, to have 0.07. And let's go ahead and write our formula. So I is equal to 425 times 0.07 times 5. So we're going to multiply the first 2 numbers together. So I'm going to have 425 times 0.07, 35, 14, 15, 16, 17. 7 times 4, I believe, is 28. Yep, 28 plus 1 more is 29. I have 2 decimal place values, so I'm going to go 1, 2, and I get 29.75. And I'm not done. I still need to multiply this by 5. So I'm going to have 29.75 times 5 to have 5 times 5 is 25, 35, 36, 37, 45, 46, 47, 48, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I have 2 place values, so I'm going to go 1, 2 to give me a grand total of 148.75. 148.75. All right, let's try one more together. So your principal is 75, your 3%, you need to change that to a decimal. So 1, 2 to have 0.03 times 1. So I is equal to 75 times 0.03 times 1 year. So we need to multiply these 2 numbers first. So 75 times 0.03, 15, 21 plus 1 more is 22. I have 2 place values, so I have 2.25. And I need to multiply this by 1. And I'm going to get the same exact number, 2.25. So the interest we earned in 1 year is $2.25. All right, I would love for you to pause the video, and I want you guys to try the next 2. So try the row 3 and row 4 for me. All right. Don't forget to change your decimal, 1, 2. And then you should have received $40 for this one. Move your decimal 2 times, and you should receive 34. All right. Okay, so take notice. What do you notice is different in this row than all of the other 4 rows that we've been dealing with? It looks like we're missing our principal. All right, so what we need to do is let's go ahead and rewrite our formula. I is equal to PRT. We do not know the principal, so what variable do we usually use when we don't know X? We know the rate is 4%, which is 0.04. We're told the time is equal to 3, and we know what I is this time, and it's equal to 30. So let's go ahead and plug in the information that we have. Well, I is equal to 30 is equal to, let's go ahead and say x times 0.04 times 3. All right, we need to go ahead and multiply these two numbers first. So that way we can try and get x by itself. So we're going to have, where can I do this over here? 0.04 times 3. Well, 3 times 4 is 12. 3 times 0 is 0. We'll bring down that 1. And I have a place value of 2. So I have 0.12. Now comes our one-step equations. How do you get x by itself? What should we do? We need to divide by 0.12 on both sides. Divide by 0.12 on both sides. And I'm going to go ahead and do this for you, which means x should be 250, meaning we started with $250. Okay, the next one. Which one are we missing this time? All right, it looks like we are missing the time this time. So let's go ahead and plug in our information into our equation. So we're going to follow the same steps here, except this time our x is not with principal. Our x is going to be in with the time. So I'm going to have, where is that? 109.44 is equal to 456 times, move it 2 times, 0.06 times x. If you want, you can do this, but I'm going to go ahead and do this for you. So 456 times 0.06, you should get 2736. And I'm going to do 109. So I'm going to actually show you what I'm doing. I'm doing 109.44 divided by these two numbers multiplied together. And I'm going to get 4. We did this in 4 years. All right, if you want to try, please try the very next one and then come back to the video. It looks like we are finding the percent. So you're going to follow the exact same steps that we've done in these two. Multiply these two numbers together. Do this divided by these two multiplied, and that's going to give you guys your percent. So it looks like I have, so I'm going to do 500 times 4, which is 2,000, and then 120 divided by 2,000. And I should get 0.06, which is really 6%. 6%. All right, when you borrow money from a bank, the amount you borrow is the principal, okay, is what you start with. You pay interest on the money that you owe the bank and things of that nature. So not only can you put money into a bank to be saved and the bank pays you money, there are times where you need to borrow money from a bank. So let's say that we have to buy and pay off a mortgage or whatever, and it's $5,000. We borrow this money of $5,000, which is our principal. We are told, okay, you have an interest rate of 6%. It's going to take us 10 years to pay it off. How much interest are we going to have to pay? And this is how much are we going to have to pay extra on top of what we already borrowed. All right. I want you guys, and I'm going to stop here. I want you to use what we've done up here at the very top, which is the exact same concept as down here, except this time we're borrowing the money. Same difference, same steps. And I want you guys to try number 2 and then go back and look at the teacher notes for the answer. But if you guys have any questions, please let us know.